What does it mean to be a skeptic? I think that's what Sextus is getting at here. He makes some distinctions in the beginning, and I think one of the distinctions I don't really understand, but one of them I think I do, and that is the distinction between a dogmatist and a skeptic. A dogmatist is someone who thinks they found the truth, and Aristotle would, is mentioned as a prominent dogmatist. A skeptic is a person who doesn't think that they have the truth, but keeps on searching for it. That's what Sextus says. But what does that mean to be a skeptic? Um, I think that there are a couple places in this that kind of give you a sense of it. Um, well, in section 4, what skepticism is. He says skepticism is the ability to find the opposites, both of objects of experience and objects of thought. That should say, I'm sorry, right there. If you look right here, it says objects of the, but it should say objects of thought. So objects of experience and objects of thought. Skepticism is the ability to find the opposites, both of objects of experience and the objects of thought, in any way, whatever. I think by objects of experience, he means sense experience. Like if you're looking at a stop sign, or an orange, or a building, or another person, those would be objects of experience. If you're thinking about the Pythagorean theorem or the principle of non contradiction, or anything like that, that would be an object of thought. And what the skeptic says is that there's, I mean, if we said we're looking at a stop sign, and one of the things we could say is that the stop sign is there. Another thing we could say is the stop sign is not there. And both of them are equally true, or seem equally true, or appear to be equally true. If we say about the Pythagorean theorem that the square and the hypotenuse is equal in area to the sum of the squares on the opposite and adjacent sides, that's true, but it's also not true. I think that's the idea of the opposites. He says, because the opposed things or reasoning have equal force, we are led first to suspension of judgment and then to serenity. That's the whole idea of skepticism. Whenever I try to say something about the world, I realize that whatever I say, the opposite is just as likely to be true. So what I do is I suspend my judgment and say, I don't know anything about the world. I don't know if the stop sign is there. It could be there, it could not be there. I don't know whether the Pythagorean theorem is true. It could be true, it could not be true. So I suspend my judgment about whether it's true or not. That's the idea of suspension of judgment. And the idea is that leads to serenity. That is, I stop worrying about whether my objects of experience are true or whether my reasoning about objects of thought are true. I just relax, man. I realize that I don't know. And that leads me to serenity. Um, read it for yourself. I'm not going to go through it. We have time in class to go through it, but I just want to get that across. That to be a skeptic is really to suspend your judgment. And suspension of judgment is really the judgment whether something is so or not, whether something is true or not. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's not true. We don't know anything. So that's the suspension of judgment. And the serenity is we stop worrying about it.